Hello there, my name is Laminjai. This is News Review. Thank you very much for joining us today. So today there will be no review of the newspapers, and so we'll go straight into the show. Police arrest man who staged an armed robbery himself and played victim of the act. We have what the police are, the update that is coming from the police there. The Tobaski will be celebrated in the Gambia on Tuesday. Gambians have been rushing to ram markets across the country to grab their sacrificial lamb. How are everything unraveling? I have been finding out. Also, Gambians are also heading to the provinces to celebrate the Tobaski. How is the issue of transport looking like? I've been finding out that too. COVID-19 is attacking the country again. Over 200 new cases recorded over the weekend. Dr. Abdullah Bitey will be my guest today. He'll be speaking to me in the context of the face mask mandate, but also Tobaski, where large gatherings are expected to be formed there. We'll begin with that update, but that is coming from the place there. They held a press conference today to update reporters on a man who operates a forex exchange bureau in Banjul, who staged an armed robbery himself and played a victim of the act. We'll bring you what the police spokesman, Lavinjai, has been telling reporters.
You're welcome to the police headquarters conference hall. It's the Gambia Police Force Public Relations Officer, Superintendent Lamin Jai. With me here, I have Chief Superintendent of Police, Pa Aliu Jawara, who is the head of the Special Investigation Unit of the Gambia Police Force. Today, we are here to report on a case that had happened here in Banjul sometime in the beginning of this month of July, around the 5th of July, 2021. What happened is the suspect that you have seen here before by the name Momodu Jang Jallo. He is somebody who operates a bureau de change called the AMJ, if I remember well. That bureau de change, according to him, somebody called him on the phone and requested that he needs to change CFA, a huge amount of CFA to Dallas. And so as a result of this, he had an appointment with this individual. And so according to him, the following day, two individuals appeared at his bureau de change. And so these individuals, soon as they entered into the bureau, they attacked him, and then they assaulted him, and they robbed him of $600,000. According to him, the robbers used knives and other weapons to subdue him, and they inflicted injuries on him as well. And until he got passed out, they took $600,000 from the shop and went away with it. Upon receipt of this information, the Gambia Police Force Investigation Department swiftly opened an investigation into this situation. And the investigation found out that, in actual sense, this was staged. It was he himself who decided to inflict wounds on himself or injuries on himself. It was he himself who lay down in a sort of what would look like a pool of blood for people to see to it that actually there were robbers, when in actual sense there were no robbers at the bureau. What we found out, in fact, was that it was he himself who used another telephone of his to call his other line, so that it appears as if there were some people who called him the previous day, making it look like some people were calling him, when actually even that in itself, it was his other line that he used to call another of his line, which equally belonged to him as well. And so at the end of the day, we found out that most of the revelation, most of the complaint that he has given, none of these things are valid or truthful at the end of the day. And we realized that he decided to do all this because he had owed certain people some money. He borrowed 200,000 from somebody and another person, and he promised to pay these monies on time, and he failed to do this. And at the end of the day, he is looking for a story to explain to this individual as to what is the reason why he could not pay them or their monies on time. In fact, in actual sense, according to him, during investigations, these monies have been embezzled in one way or the other, and he cannot be able to repay these monies again, and so he had to look for a story, and this is what he did by staging or cooking up a scenario that looks like a robbery when actually there was no robbery. Our message to the general public is this. We want to make it very clear to the general public that people must desist from staging crime scenes and making it look like if these are real crime scenes when actually these are only situations that never occur at any point in time. In fact, we want to let people understand that this amounts to a crime, and that is why this individual has been charged with giving false information to the police, and he will be arraigned before the court accordingly. The other thing that we want to let the public be aware of is the fact that we know there are people in the era that we live in, people have smartphones, they can take pictures, they can make videos, and also make WhatsApp audios as well to be informing the public about issues, especially pertaining to crime. We want to caution people because if you look at this crime scene, it appears as a real crime scene. And so if you go on without verifying facts, without knowing the nitty-gritty of what is happening, you could be informing the public that there is a crime going on and somebody has been stabbed and that, when actually none of that is existing. But in actual sense, what you are doing is instilling panic into people about a crime that has not really happened, which we want to encourage people to allow journalists to do their job, because the journalists will investigate. At the end of the day, they will verify facts and inform the public accordingly when it comes to issues like this. But we know that most of the time, this is not the issue of the journalists, but ordinary people can easily take their phones and take pictures of issues, at the end of the day, spread it around. So we want people to be cautious of that as well. The third thing we want to put across is the fact that we are encouraging people to share information with the police. Information sharing is the way we can solve crime and prevent crime from occurring within our communities. This is why we keep encouraging community policing initiatives for people to partner with the police wherever they have seen or have heard about an incident or an unusual activity. They can easily inform the police, and at the end of the day, those matters will be investigated and the public will be adequately informed about the facts and realities of those situations. This is what we want to pass across to the public, and we hope that people will collaborate with the police to make the Gambia a crime-free country.
Tough Africa Global presents the new Tulip Gardens. Tough Tulip Gardens is set to comprise service plots in sizes ranging from 220 to 570 meters square. Deposit as low as $83,600 only. An 18-month interest-free payment plan with only 20% deposit on the service plots. Please contact 376-2333 or 776-2333.
And now, the Tobaski will be marked in the Gambia on Tuesday. Gambians have been rushing to various ram markets across the country, really, to grab their sacrificial lamb. But how are everything unraveling in terms of the ram trade? More in this.
With less than 24 hours to Tobaski, the ram trade has intensified. In the stadium area of Bakau, ram dealers are all over the place amid the mad rush for sacrificial lamb.
Wow, business bi sant yàlla bu baax a baax parce que mu ngi dox ndànk-ndànk daal nañ ci yaakaar bu baax parce que xar yi ñu ngi wàññeeku bu baax te am nañ yaakaar dina jeex bu baax a baax daal waaw xar yi moom rafet nañ macha allah xam nga xaru yefal moom bokk da xar yi coogal.
This ram dealer is asking the government to empower Gambians engaged in the ram trade.
Mais lu ñuy saako tamit si nguur gi comme mu dimbale ñu si anytime parce que ñun doomi Gambians lu ñu am si dëkk bi lay des lépp lu ñu xoslu rek si dëkk bi lay des dañuy bëgg tam ñu ñoo dimbale comme si xar yu coogal yi ñu mu mën a wàññeeku tuuti bu ko defee ñun xar yu ñu yefal ñu jaay ko ci réew mi xaalis bi des si réew mi moo gën comme xaalis bi di gaay poli jaay ko ci réew mi yóbbuwaat ko seen réew ñun suñu réew du mën a développe.
This man has been walking from one ram market to the other since morning. He is yet to get a ram due to the price.
Affaire dafa métti trop because fii moom xar bu gën a ndaw sa 12,000 lañ laa charge so xam nga c'est fii affaire easy wut daal you know da ngaa gis ñu laa charge 25,000 you know 18,000 you know so xam nga issue daal issue te affaire yi tamit xam nga affaire yi fi mu nekk nii dara doxul.
depuis démb booy maa ngi wóor fii laa dem naa abu ko ñëw naa fii waaye xar yi dafa overseer bro ay 17 boy 14 rek la gars di wax boy.
14.
Ay 17 boy.
You don't have that.
No, I don't budget for that man. That's too much man bro. As you know boy, no contribute demee boy. Everything is dry. Ñun ñëpp xam nañ nu mu fa taajoo boy xam nga. So they have to make things reasonable for the people man. Not everybody can buy a cheap of 14 or 12 stuff like that. Yeah, before last man I bought one. I bought it for 9 something. That's good. Suma colleague moom mu ngi jëndee 10 something, but this year suñ la wone xar bu ñoo jaayee sa ay 9 taw boy or 8.5, you just run away, you can buy that man. Affaire yi dafa overseer man, so they need to do something man and help the poor people.
We caught up with this ram dealer and buyer while they were haggling.
Sonko Sadio mu jëlati.
First price is 14.5.
14.5. Na wasiyata la data la.
Sanjela bedel.
Ante 10 ni sonta 10 lan Sadio.
No 10 o mambete ya sem pour ngana nyo saba. 13 di na yata.
No, ni sonta 10 la dan Sadio no, but 13 da.
Sanya tonya Sadio nyala price 11.5 long.
Momo ni la poso la mimbe bulu. So obviously nak mimbe bulu ngole foye. So
nga Sadio wa fino la nga boyji because yalo maketo Kenya lo. Ningombe kudo jibe la je mina boy dal melos lal so. 11.5 o be beti ala melos la jele but aba beti ala kara do tole. Mbe balance la do tole.
Bayrin say man la fi boye la joto andum ma fana man la fi ke tora mimbe mbulu nga wole foye ta do mo beti aso ngamira nga nyaato jibe nga dula do train na poso dal ba ni.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, okay.
Muslims annually observe.
And now the Tobaski is the one feast where Gambians flock all travel to the village to spend the festival to celebrate the Eid in the provinces. But they have to grapple with various challenges before getting to the village. One of such challenge has to do with the issue of transportation. Really, that is always a nightmare for a lot of people, from double fares to the inavailability of vehicles to convey them to their various villages. Really, it's a problem for many people who wish to spend the Eid in the village. More in this report.
Gambians travel to the provinces in their droves to mark Tobaski. Not many stay in the greater Banjul area on the occasion. And transportation is always a nightmare. At the GTSC in Kanifing, people have since morning been waiting on the queue to board a bus.
Mamoto Sotofolo, be boss batola, boso do nyanta nala nyanta bla kata, be olela baika.
The old man is also complaining about drivers taking advantage of the dire situation by doubling fares.
Pasol la ko mansonia. Mansonia de because ya jube kabona birkama kana lame dalskeme. Kabo birkama kabo lame kana Westfield dalskeme. Monesi wo sabu ngamera nyimu sonia karol. Sa misil mol fon damal ka kulani nyobul. O mambetea. Mansa nyanta wo to cross la bakile. Nyanta wo cross la bakile. Misil mol damante because ni maka ombe keri ni say pas jo kolea misil mol damante banko ka abol dama buka dunga kolea kon inin christianol bele ka dunga kolea kon oto kule melan ko nyanta kela kuso ne aronti nyim karso ne aronti bunya karole barako karole.
This woman is traveling to faraway Brikama Bar. She has been here since morning.
Abukole mbake because meta say jana still mamoto sorono anu dindon be mbalan tabla jam para nenjira Brikamba be pasole jole kata kadun kono.
Travelers have continued to flock to the various car parks in the greater Banjul to travel to their home villages for the Tobaski. We have received reports drivers are charging ridiculous amounts of up to $100 from Serekunda to Brikama alone.
Thank you very much and welcome back. So COVID has been attacking the nation again, showing little mercy, really. This third wave, experts are saying, is going to be really bad. And so this is why I am joined by a top official of the Ministry of Health. He's the Director of Health Services, Dr. Abdullah Bite. The reason why I had my mask on since at the start of the show is I really don't want him to charge me or drag me to the place. Dr. Bite, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
What is the state of COVID as we speak?
Oh, thank you very much. So for now, we all agree that we are in the third wave, not only because of what is happening in Gambia, but also what is happening in the surrounding. So we've seen in our neighbors in the sub-region, it's hit very hard. And Gambia, we are also seeing the trend that is going towards that. Now, our treatment centers are filled with people and they are having very serious the disease. Before the last waves, we are not seeing this number of serious disease. You could have 100 people admitted, very few will have serious disease or severe disease. But now you go there, you see many of them are in the ICU, on CPAP or ventilators and being supported. So it looks very bad.
So this is very bad. Take us through the statistics. Just over the weekend alone, you had recorded over 300, small Gambia. You recorded that. Take us through the statistics. How is that looking?
Yeah, so we've done some nice curves that will show you exactly predictability. And then compare it with the last year, when it started. So if you look at, we are not yet in the peak. If you look at where we are, at the level of the curve we are, compared to last year when we were having the serious one, we are 4 to 6-fold more than that. So that means that if we continue with this trend and we reach the peak, we will reach numbers that are 4 times what we had before. Just like Senegal, now the numbers they're having per day, they've never had that. Now they are having 700 per day, 1,100 per day. So if we continue with this trend, we'll reach a level where we'll be having numbers that we've never had before. You remember in the last wave, there are times when we had 300 per day or more. But if we continue with this trend, when we reach the peak, you can say 300 times 6.
That's 900 a day.
Yeah. That's more than that.
That's a lot. So what is the government doing in terms of managing this? Because this is looking like a serious problem.
It's serious, and the government is not taking it lightly. Minister of Health is not taking it lightly, and the people should not take it lightly. So you have to make big decisions, whether you have to stop people moving. And the problem with the disease is, it doesn't only kill you or cause problem, but it occupies the space in the hospital so that other people who are sick will not have access to care, and they also get morbidity and they can have mortalities also. So what the government is doing, we keep talking to the public that the responsibility is on all of us. We can do something about it. And we see a lot of people are going around wearing masks. Yes. The police are also trying to enforce that. Yes. We are telling people also, please don't go to crowded areas. Yes. And also make sure you observe social distancing. Even this Eid that is coming, we are telling people, please, if you cannot go, if you don't have to go, you don't have to. You can stay away. But if you must go, maybe make sure you observe social distancing, wear a mask, and take all the necessary precautions. The other good thing the government is doing is spending a lot of resources on getting vaccines. Vaccines are very scarce all over the world now. Like some countries develop ones, they've already gotten a lot of it. But the developing ones, it's difficult to lay hands on the vaccine because everybody needs it. But we are lucky that we are able to get some vaccines that are coming tomorrow. And this is a very good one. It's the Johnson & Johnson that you can give one shot then they are fine. Then we are working with different bilateral countries like China. They are also working with them to get some of the Sinopharm also, which is coming. We are also working to get some more AstraZeneca. We are working with the African Union to get more. So we are getting lots of vaccines so that people are vaccinated. That's the only way we can save the population, inshallah.
Okay, the vaccine part, because I know the AstraZeneca, you ran out of stock in terms of that. Now you are you turn to this Sinopharm, but you have a portion of the population who really don't trust that vaccine. And you talk to people to tell them to go and take this vaccine. They tell you, no, I don't trust that vaccine. What are you going to do about that?
Oh, that's funny because, when we had the Sinopharm, I had top officials, top scientists, top people working who came and said they are not going to take any other vaccine except we give them the Sinopharm. That time the Sinopharm was not licensed because people do their research and they saw that the vaccine was tested in Brazil, tested in other places, and the results were very good. That time we were given the AstraZeneca, and some said, no, I'm not taking the AstraZeneca. We said, no, sorry, but it's not yet licensed. We cannot give it until it's licensed. Although some countries have licensed it, but WHO has not licensed it, our country has not licensed that time. So there are many people who were actually waiting for the Sinopharm. So there are also some people who may not prefer it, and so they have other options. That's why the country is not only bringing one vaccine. We are bringing 3 to 4 types of vaccines. But as a government, for us, they are all the same to us because they've all gone through the process. The efficacy has been ascertained. Safety has been ascertained. That's what we are interested. So we don't want, to us, it's the same. Whether you take AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, just sometimes the logistics. Some of us prefer the Johnson & Johnson because it's logistics. It's easy. You just give it one. You go to their place, give it to them, and they get it. So we prefer it, but not because it's better or anything.
Let me also ask you, because you brought back the face mask mandate. Now you are saying people must wear a face mask or be fined $1,000. But if you look at the enforcement part, since this announcement came last week to now, I have been going out, and really compliance isn't there. People are not really wearing face masks, and they are working fine. Nothing is happening to them. Almost all public places. What are you doing about that?
So we are working with the police. So it will be difficult to take everybody to court and all. But I know one thing they are doing is if they see you, they stop you until you make sure you buy a mask and all that before they allow you to leave. If you're in a vehicle, you get down and you are delayed for all the time. And I think many very people who are very recalcitrant, maybe they will prosecute those ones. But at least they are doing something about it. And on Saturday when I went around, I was a little happy because I saw that the drivers were putting it on. And I think tomorrow they will be maybe more vigorous about it, I suspect.
How about the issue of the Tobaski? Really, tomorrow is Tobaski. And you will have a lot of people who will go to public places. People are going to form large gatherings and what do you call super spreaders. What are you going to do about that?
So tomorrow we are urging people not to go to distant places. Like if I am from Charmen village, so I don't have to really go this time to Charmen. Let me just stay here as much as possible. And if you cannot, if you must go, if you go, make sure you take your own mat, you observe social distancing, and you wear your mask. And the movement, this salibo, we are not encouraging it, because if somebody has it, then he'll be going around and spreading it, and it's a problem. And we are hoping that tomorrow it rains heavily, inshallah. So
that's so that people
can impede also the traffic.
So that people don't go out. But also, let me go back to the issue of the vaccine, because I have had people who took the vaccine, yet they tested positive for COVID. One example is Sajid, of the British Health Secretary. He tested positive and he took the vaccine. So as an expert, are vaccines really safe? Can it protect you from COVID?
Yeah, so the vaccines, there are different ways they assess them. So if you look at, for example, one of them, Sinopharm, if they say, does it protect you from having the infection? It's not very high, maybe it's about 55 or so. So, but does it prevent you from having severe disease? So it goes to 79 or so. But if you look at one of the studies for Sinopharm, does it stop you from hospitalization? It's 100%. So these vaccines, they have good reason. They are very important because they stop people from the most important thing, which is dying. They stop severe disease, they stop hospitalization in a very significant amount. But sometimes they don't stop you from having the disease at all. So because you may have it, you may have the infection, but you will not have the severe form. So if you have the infection, you might still spread it, but you will not have the severe form. So if all of us have the vaccines and we will not have the severe form, it reduces the main problem is that if you have the severe form, you take the hospital beds, people cannot go to hospital, and you yourself might die. And taking care of one person in an ICU is very costly. You see this, people are talking about renting in a hotel, it's expensive. One night in an ICU can pay maybe 10 days in a hotel or 20 days. It's very expensive.
Let me also ask you the issue of people being oblivious to the fact that COVID exists, to the reality that COVID exists. You talk to a lot of people out there and they say, hey, look, because I've been monitoring people's reaction when you said that we are in the third wave and this press release of the face mask mandate. People are saying, okay, this is a broke government. Now they need money. They want to do this so that, I mean, they can get money from the Europeans. I mean, what are you doing? Because there are a lot of people out there who really do not believe that COVID exists. You talk to them COVID, they said, what are you doing to changing that mindset?
Yeah. So that shows we have a lot more work to do. Maybe our strategies, we need to improve on them, maybe to get those people on board. Sometimes maybe we are using just didactic measures or engagement in the communities. We need to use more maybe role models, young footballers and all that to go also and talk, depending on who communicates with them so that they understand. And sometimes also we go further to talk to the people who owns these platforms, like Fatu Network. You know, you're allowing somebody to come here and spew certain things. You know, it's not, we discuss with you and all the media so that they don't give platform to those type of people. Because according to the law, it's not even right. You know, if somebody comes here to say certain things, you have to ask them to prove it. And most of the time they can't prove it. And then the public will be able to judge for themselves why they are saying such things which are not right. So this conspiracy theories that is going around, the best way to approach it is to counter it with knowledge and to bring out good evidence to show them that this is what is happening. So that the other people, those people may not believe it because they are already have head on that they will never accept, but the others around will not follow them.
So let me ask you this very important question then. COVID, everybody is talking about COVID. Doctor, as an expert, as a health practitioner, what is COVID-19 and what happens to someone who is infected with the disease?
Yeah, so we have different types of germs that can cause infection. So there are different categories. You have some they are called protozoa, like malaria and others. You have some that are bacteria, you know, they are a little smaller than protozoa. Then you have viruses. So this is a type of virus. So the viruses also, they have different types. Well, this is a type of virus that causes, that enters your cell. Because human beings are made of small blocks, just like this bricks we have to make houses. So many of them, trillions, made us human beings. So these viruses, when they enter those cells, they cause them to stop or to cause inflammation and all that. So especially around the lungs. And then you start to have this different manifestation of symptoms. Sometimes it is the immune response towards that causes the symptoms that you see, like the fever and wanting to remove it, like coughing and other things. But you know, this killing of these cells could lead to problems to the person.
But what are COVID symptoms? What are COVID symptoms? What happens to someone who is infected with COVID?
Yes, so it depends on where it affects. You can have, your body can be warm, because of there are some cells that are there trying to say that they will eliminate this virus or the infected cells, and all that. So you can have fever. Some of these people can have coughing because it affects the respiratory tract and irritates it. And because of that, you have coughing. Then some will have sweating, joint pains because it affects the muscles, malaise, and then some will have respiratory failure even. Like they don't have enough oxygen in their body, and so they need to be helped and all that. And then if you don't have enough oxygen, that can cause more problems also. Like because of the lack of oxygen alone, your body responds to other methods, and then it can cause you problem. Like you can have hypoxemia, that is like your blood cells are not having enough oxygen. And then because of that, anaerobic respiration starts, you have lactic acidosis, and many other problems come on. So it could go up to the level where you can have respiratory failure, and then you may succumb.
And if you look at the amount of people that died out of this virus since it hit the country, I mean, about 160, and the great majority of these are older people. Why is older people dying more than the younger ones?
Yeah, I think it's because of the immunity. That's what I think. Because it's very old, because this is very elderly people, their immunity might be low and they will succumb. People with diabetes also are more prone to having severe disease and also dying. And people with respiratory disease like COPD and others are also more prone to. Yeah, so it's not only the elderly, but those with comorbidities also. Like if somebody has another sickness, like diabetes especially. In Gambia, we've seen that diabetes constituted a big number of the people who had mortalities.
Before we go, I want you to speak a little bit in Mandinka and Wolof, because I think this is important. You have a lot of people that are interested in something like this, and maybe they might not really want you to say it in English, of course. So, Doctor, let's start. You are fluent in both. You are good.
I'm fluent in Wolof.
In Wolof. Doctor, very COVID because gis nañ ne issue ngeen statement ne COVID third wave bi ñëw na te bi dafa xaw a doy waar. Mën nga ñu wax situation bi in terms of COVID naka la mel si dëkk bi COVID maanaam coronavirus.
yow fu mu toll nii moom mbas mi dafa garaaw dafa jéggi dayoo parce que lu xewoon mooy fu mu toll woon la bu njëkk a njëlbeen at bu passé ne le soo ko xaymee comme suñ ko xaymee fu mu toll nii dafa doon ñeenti yoon ba juróom-benn yoon am su la toll te eggaaguñ si fu nga xam ne foofu la gën a kawee. te su eggee foofu mun naa am suñ continuer nuñ doon def suñu eggee foofu dina garaaw torop so looloo tax ñu ñëpp a ngi jóg di si wax di si jël ay jéego te ñun ñëpp a si war a taxaw ku nekk sooy génn nga sol masque ba pare ñu moytu di bu jege wante nit yi su ñoo dem julli ñu make sure ne ñu ngi mayante 1 meter loolu moo ñoo mën a dimbale pour nga xam ne incha allah ba pare nit yi tamit dem jël seen péngo yi suñu péngo bi jotee Gambia gis ngeen last time dañu am 51,000 doses daf ñu jël long time balaa moo jeex loolu daf ñu war a jël 1 week nit yi yëpp war a ñëw quick la ñu jeexal ko waaye ñëpp di jël time loolu dafa tax next batch bi sax da ngaa ragal ko ici parce que soo ko ici mën naa expire so ñun ñëpp suñ ko ñëwee dañoo gaaw jël ko den ñu mun a am suñu vaccine yi as soon as possible mu mun ñoo fanxa si feebar bi fu mu tellu nii dafa gën a am doole last year bu ñu gisoon mooy nit yi ñu ngi doon feebar waaye ñu daan am feebar bu métti bi bariwutoon waaye bii yoon ñu am feebar bu métti bi dafa bari trop soo gisee téeméer bu nekk ñu ko nekk di am dafa bari compared to bu njëlbeen bi woon so loolu tax bii ñun ñëpp ñu bugg a jóg fagarlu bokk si xeex bi incha allah.
léegi naka mbiri face mask bi because gis nañ ne léegi yéen ngi wax ne nit ñi dañu war a takk face mask wala ñu fay $1,000 loolu naka la fa demee.
waaw loolu luwaa la képp ku ko toppul rek dinañ la di nga jotee luwaa bi waaye not only luwaa bi dañ ko def pour mu aar ñu ndaxte feebar bi loolu benn si lu ko fanxa la su dul loolu su continuer di am doole lu ñoo def mooy gën a ëppa dañoo tëj dëkk bi ay yooyu te loolu ñun ñëpp suñ jëlee ay jéego mais duñ egga foofu because tëj dëkk bi dafa métti kenn du mun a génn doo dem liggéeyi and all that so loolu tax ñu ne na ñëpp sol seen masque yi sooy dugga si banque nga sol masque sooy dem si taxi nga sol masque soo ko solutee mu te police yi neen la fekka ñu wàccee la ba nga am masque mais bi nga solaat ko oo ñu yóbbu la nga fay xaalis $1,000.
Doctor, jërëjëf ni nga ñëwee fii kontaan nañ trop. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
Coming. So that will bring us to the end of today's show. Thank you for being there. So tomorrow is Tobaski. So on behalf of myself and the entire Father Network team, we wish you a very blessed Eid al-Adha in advance. Thank you really for your support. We appreciate everything. And by the way, the president initially declared that there would be 1 day public holiday. Today, there has been an adjustment to that. Now it will be 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday. Thank you very much. We'll see you on Thursday.